Point is, the end result is the same.
Duty calls.
I have searched the world over for you.
That is so cool.
You guys all just have this really tight bond.
Just call me the computer whisperer.
He seemed so nice and normal.
You don't want to come back to my place?
The bleach smell makes me nauseous.
I thought it was going to be a slow night.
It's fucking fantastic.
I love that sound.
Can we go now?
Welcome to Beer with Buffy. I'm Josh.
I'm Rex.
And today on Beer with Buffy, we are reviewing Season 6, Episode 11, Gone.
Yes.
Because we were gone fishing for like 4 months. Not actually catching fish, because that's mean.
I got married.
Yeah. Why'd you do that?
Because I'm in love with someone.
Fucking weirdo.
No, it is weird. Being married is profoundly weird. Like, at least once a week, both me and my spouse go, we're married.
Ew.
The biggest bonus to being married is I get to yell at their doctors.
Yes, you've been enjoying that.
Yes.
Quite profusely. I'm happy for both of you.
It's really nice.
But not for me. It's been pretty hard on my sex life. What does that mean? That's for you to figure out as the listener.
Yes.
First order of business.
We have Patreon supporters.
Fuck-a-doodle-doo, Rex.
Our doodle-doos. They are Angelica Tinkerbell Matheson, Pixie Dark, Elon Bond, Tracy Kidd, Finally Figured Out Name Change Meow, Monica Fonseca Excellentellas.
Oh, very nice.
Tsuba Spike, Audrey Two French Last Names. Check out my band Cryptids, Ali B, Nathan Lancy, Dulcinea, Rachel Doodle-Doo, Cubby the Seal, Mr. Tabalicious, Sandra Craig, Jay Sommer, Karen Moon, Leroy Jenkins, Kelly MC, Jesse Rain, Alex from the Heart, and Carrie Phillips. Thank you so much. Without you, this show literally is not possible.
Literally. Thank you so much.
Well, to start things off, I think we should talk about what's most important, and that is giving away free shit.
Yeah, let's give away some free shit.
Right when we left, we just immediately after we left, I think, we got our 75th review.
We did.
And that means we are giving away a free hoodie.
Motherfucking hoodie. And that fated 75th review, which is probably actually more like our 80th review because
something like that,
we got a few more from other countries, but we can't see those and have not really figured out a good way to keep track of those.
Yeah.
We just have a jumble of emails and texts and voicemails.
Same with reviews that aren't on iTunes. They're impossible for us to keep track of.
Right, and we're only counting iTunes reviews for this anyway. The other ones are a great bonus, but more on that in a moment. Anyway, that review was by Ice Cream Is For Me, and she says, as a longtime Buffy fan, I have enjoyed hearing about the show from the perspective of Rex and Josh. This podcast is a hilarious blend of friendly banter, personal opinions, and fun facts. And it is surprisingly well edited for a podcast without a full production team. Nice job, guys. I think you mean Josh.
Yeah.
Also, please listen to the musical review, Twice More with Irony. It is a real treat. Why, yes, it is. Ice Cream Is For Me.
Yes.
Thank you for mentioning it.
We worked really hard on that.
Yeah. I poured my whole dick into that one. Balls deep.
The fact that you have a pourable sex organ is disturbing.
Oh, a what?
A pourable sex organ?
Pourable. Oh, yeah. It's a liquid. But, it can be frozen at the appropriate time.
Yes.
For reasons that we're not going to go into.
Anyway, we pulled up all of our reviews. We used a random number generator and figured out who won the hoodie. Hopefully you are listening. Brainer888. You reviewed us back in December of 2021.
You lucky, crazy son of a bitch. Hopefully you're still listening.
Yeah, Brainer888.
We're not going to read the whole review again, but it was quite serendipitous that in your review you go on about how we sometimes take long sabbaticals.
Yes.
And now we're coming back from a long sabbatical.
Our longest, actually.
And you always get excited like a puppy or something.
Yeah.
But this time you're also winning a hoodie.
Yes.
Hooray.
So if you want your hoodie, you need to contact us as soon as possible, preferably email, or you can also call our phone number or text our phone number would work as well.
That would be acceptable. And the phone number is 269-743-0783.
And our email is beerwithbuffy@gmail.com. Get a hold of us. We will get you your hoodie. We're going to give you about a month.
Exactly a month. And we're going to give you a discount code. All you have to do is take that to our store, and you do have to pay a penny. It's not completely free.
Yeah.
But 1 penny in U.S. currency. Also, as I was saying earlier, we just haven't been organized enough to keep track of the few iTunes reviews that we have had from like the UK and Canada. And I feel bad about that.
I do too.
We can't really include you in these hoodie contests. So what I'm going to do to make up for that, I might make it a little better of a deal. But right now, what we agreed on just off the top of our heads before we started recording was we're going to give you a 50% off coupon that you can use on anything in the store.
Yeah, 50% off one item.
One item.
Yeah.
We're assuming you probably want the hoodie. I think that's the best item on our store, personally. Yeah. Or we might specifically make that for the hoodie. I don't know. But if you're one of those people from the UK or Canada or somewhere else that's
Australia, we got listeners in Australia.
If you're outside the US, just assume that we cannot see your iTunes review.
Because we can't.
Yeah. There's enough other shit going on in this country. I don't even want to get into it. We're lucky we can see our own iTunes reviews.
Yes. At this point.
Lucky we're still alive for now.
No, we're gonna avoid the existential dread, Josh.
Oh, right.
This is about Buffy. This is about a better time.
Oh, yeah. Don't let the existential dread sink in.
Yes.
I keep forgetting.
Yeah.
Thank you for reminding me. So we have been also getting flooded with people that think we don't have eyes saying, hey, there's a new Buffy show coming out.
Yes, we know about the new Buffy show.
We noticed.
We are also excited about the new Buffy show.
Yes, it is a wonderful time to be a Buffy fan. It is probably an even better time to be a Buffy podcast.
Yeah. That being said, we have no current plans to be doing a review of the new Buffy show.
Yeah. One way or another, we'll either get to it eventually, or I've got some ideas about how we might weave it in with our normal show, but no hard plans as of yet to be reviewing the new show. So,
I think it's time for a mom synopsis.
Fuck, I think you're right. Joshua! What are you doing, Joshua? Wait, you can see me? I mean, gosh! Where has my son gone away to? I can't see him anywhere. No, don't do that. Don't condescend to me. Well, then don't pretend to be invisible, Joshua. Why not? I'm basically invisible to you anyway. What the hell does that mean, Joshua? Well, it could be an analogy for the difficulty of coping with stress and doing irresponsible things with other people's emotions in the process. Or it could mean that I never really see you anyway because I've deprived you of your emotional needs as your caregiver and narcissistically expect you to fulfill my emotional needs before yours in a desperate attempt to mitigate my instability, and I only see you as a means to an end because of my own emotional immaturity, Joshua. I don't know. Don't you think that's a little too on the nose? Oh, I suppose you'd prefer a ham-fisted trope where we're both experiencing the same problem, but it manifests itself in different ways, and we all learn a warm and fuzzy lesson about friendship through hardship and respecting people around us. Okay, first of all, fisting hams was last episode, okay? No, it was slapping hams, Joshua. Sure. And second of all, you said all that like it's a bad thing. I'm surprised you even knew those words, let alone how to put them into a sentence comprehensively. What's that, Joshua? I can't see you. Where'd you go, Joshua? I can't talk to you if I can't see you. Yeah, that sounds about right. Because today on Beer with Buffy, Dawn is pissed off at Willow and Buffy still because of the car accident last episode. Buffy and Willow are both avoiding their addictions of sex with Spike and magic, respectively. Also, Buffy has a bad meeting with social services who have concerns about Buffy's ability to care for Dawn. The trio uses a diamond from a few episodes ago to make an invisibility gun, and in a botched heist, they overload it and accidentally shoot Buffy with it, who just happens to be crossing the street at the time. Buffy goes on an invisible adventure vacation, which comes to a screaming halt when reality slaps her tits off because it freaks out Dawn, and she finds out that the condition is fatal if she doesn't find a way to reverse it. Luckily, the trio kidnap Willow and lure Buffy to them, and they're idiots, so they botch Warren's attempted murder of Buffy. She kicks their ass, Willow uses the gun to restore everybody's visibility, the trio escapes, and Willow and Buffy have a little heart-to-heart about what they learned today. The end.
Ladies, gentlemen, spiny-headed looking creatures. As soon as the sun goes down, as soon as the sun goes down, vampire. Competition is a beautiful thing.
We open the episode in Willow's room, where Buffy and Dawn are removing all the magical paraphernalia from her room and the house. And the whole fucking time, Dawn is the pissiest pain in the ass ever.
Yeah. They're writing her more like a 12-year-old this episode than a fucking 16-year-old.
I get she's sad and upset, but like she's like, oh, but why are we getting rid of the candles? Why are we getting rid of this? Why are we getting... It's because your friend is fucking addicted to magic.
Yeah, and like Buffy already explained this to you, as she says, but she'll explain it to you again, like a 12-year-old. Yeah. That your friend has a problem and the shit has to go away because it's magic related. And well, I mean, Buffy even says that candles to magic witches are like bongs.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Which is a hilarious line, but, you know, also the awkwardness of Buffy was enjoyable there.
Right.
Like, you can come up with something better than a bong.
Yeah.
I'm also kind of impressed they mentioned a bong.
Right.
Like, with the day and age and everything, that still seems like maybe they wouldn't have mentioned
a little too risque.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing, this whole season practically is an analogy to doing fucking heroin.
Right.
And obviously to being a sex addict.
Yeah.
Boy, they're not shy about that one, are they? Actually, I was recently talking to our mutual friend Hannah about this season. She was just making conversation, and she claims that the writers of this show had no fucking idea about magic, like from an actual Wiccan standpoint. Right. And I'm like, really? So I'm just putting that out there. I'm going to start looking, maybe doing a little more research on Buffyverse magic versus... quote unquote real life magic, because that was the first thing I said was like, oh yeah, they don't know anything about real magic. Hannah, come on. But no, there is
I really
real lore.
I love that friend. She really likes the woo woo.
I can tell. Yeah.
I love her. She loves the woo-woo.
Yeah, I think we need to bring her on as a guest. I'm like, wow, I never would have even thought to think about it from that direction.
She would absolutely, without a doubt, join us on the podcast and take the fuck over.
Might be worth it. Might be worth it.
She's one of those people that you get her excited and she just runs with the thought.
So there's not enough room on this podcast for the both of you.
No.
Got it. Anyway, Buffy finds Spike's Zippo in the couch while she's explaining that Willow mustn't give in to temptation.
Yeah.
And Buffy flashes back to taking a big old banger right in the hoo-ha from Spike specifically.
Yes.
What? It's like a theme or something. They have the same problem. They have too much joy in their lives. Go to church, you fucking heathens. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, Keanu Reeves.
From there, we cut to a short little bit at Warren's basement where the trio are...
Masturbating, but
yeah, pretty much.
more so than anyone else in this show.
Warren is building a gun. I thought it was like maybe a freeze ray or something, but no, it's an invisible ray. It turns things invisible, and then luckily, it turns them back visible.
With his freeze ray, he can stop visibility.
It has the same kind of look as the freeze ray from Dr. Horrible.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, this is a Buffy podcast. My bad.
Opening credits.
Yeah. Did you cover the invisibility ray?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jonathan sits on the chair. It's invisible. Warren recklessly uninvisibles the chair with Jonathan, and Jonathan's pissy about it. Warren's an abusive fuckface.
This is probably the first episode where we really get the evil that is Warren.
Yeah,
like, we've had little snippets here and there, little moments, but this whole episode, like, he is definitely more evil than the other two.
Yeah, we knew he was a bully,
right?
But this is where that bulliness starts to really take on a whole new level.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're back at Buffy's house. Dawn is being snotty with Buffy and Willow. She turns to Willow's making an omelet for her. She turns it down and then doubles down on it when Buffy's like, well, you have to eat something, Dawn. She's like, no, I don't. And she just stomps off. Buffy and Willow suppose that it's because Buffy let the events of last episode go down the way they did, because she's taking a lot more blame on now, suddenly, now that she's had, I guess a week or so to consider how and why it happened, and she feels like she was in her own headspace and ignoring her best friend and didn't notice that Willow was drowning, as she puts it, which is very nice of Buffy.
Yeah.
That's very understanding of her.
I mean, to me, I definitely
It also
think,
might be a little bit of martyrdom, though, too.
Right. I get a little bit of that, but I suspect that Dawn is just lashing out at everybody right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, don't read too much into it. She's a teenager.
She's a teenager. She's just
with a
lashing
broken
out
arm
at everyone. But I think it seems like it's lashing out more at Buffy because she's also lashing back at the authority.
Okay.
So it's a combination of her normal, like, I'm a brat and you're the authority.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm mad at everybody because Willow is doing stupid things.
Because fuck you.
And they broke up.
Yeah. Also that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, that's my new favorite phrase is because fuck you. Because I've been watching season 3 of Dexter, and that's what Miguel Prado says to Dexter. And that's the moment you realize that Miguel is evil. You're like, oh, you're an asshole. I get it. And then, yay, Dexter's going to kill him. Okay, but this is a Buffy podcast. Okay, I'm getting very distracted. So anyway, a steaming blanket beast busts through the door, spilling Kool-Aid everywhere, all, oh yeah, and it's just Spike casually out for a stroll.
Yeah.
He wants his lighter. Buffy lies and says she hasn't seen it.
I have a theory.
Some kid is dreaming?
No.
And we're all stuck inside his wacky Broadway nightmare?
Negative. I don't think he accidentally left the lighter. He is very much the sort of person who would have purposely put the lighter there as an excuse to be able to come back later. I honestly think that it's in James Marsters' mind that this is the case, specifically because of the that he acts in this part. Because the way he presents the "I'm just looking for my lighter" line.
Yeah, I had the sense that this scene would have gone down exactly the same way whether she had actually given him the lighter or not.
Right.
Because it was always just an excuse to come back. whether he did it on purpose or not. And she's calling him out on it too. She specifically says, "You making up excuses." And he's like, "Oh, don't flatter yourself, love. Bloody fond of that lighter." She tells him not to call her that, and as Spike is wont to do, he does exactly the opposite of respecting her requests and moves in on her space, fondles her hair, calls her pet, sweetheart, my little Goldilocks, and does, I don't know what, but something that makes her gasp.
Something below the belt.
In very guilty arousal, because apparently she's Catholic. Everybody in the show acts like they're fucking Catholic. There's no sex positivity in this show. It's very
honestly
puritanic.
No. They specifically don't act Catholic because every single person I've ever met who was raised Catholic is the horniest bastard you've ever come across.
Oh, right? So they're Protestant.
Yes.
Okay. Poor bastards. Yeah, so, either way, I couldn't tell if he was doing something with his hand or some covert dry humping, but either way, damn.
Honestly, they hint that he put his hand down her pants.
Okay, that's
what they're hinting to me.
Yeah, I was like, did he just pop a boner from like a foot away? Did his pants just tent into her and she went?
If he didn't put his hands down her pants, he's over the clothes feeling.
No, I think you're right. He put his hand down her pants, but either way, she wasn't mad about it. She really is powerless to his wiles.
Yeah,
and if Xander hadn't interrupted, there'd have been some nonsense going on in that kitchen. I say, boy, some downright dirty nonsense.
I love when Xander walks in. He immediately just starts putting down anyone who's ever hooked up with Spike.
Yeah,
he's like, you'd have to be an idiot to sleep with you, Spike, and just the look on Buffy's face the whole time is like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. And he's trying to back up Buffy, but he's accidentally insulting her. It's kind of a funny moment.
And very specifically, though, he is pretty much the whole fucking scene, this scene with Xander, and then later in Spike's crypt. And almost any single instance we see where Xander is like the third party commenting on Spike and his obsession is essentially the external voice saying what the anxiety voice in Buffy's head is saying.
Oh, yeah, he's the voice in her head.
Yeah.
That's why she feels so ashamed of being with Spike.
Yeah.
Or at least a big part of it. It may not be the entire reason. I mean, how much importance does she really put on Xander?
Right.
Quite a lot, though, honestly.
Yeah. Too much.
More than he deserves.
Far more than he deserves.
Lucky son of a bitch. So he's going on about only a loser would ever hook up with you unless she's a simpleton like Harmony or a nutsack like Drusilla. Buffy cuts him off and gets him and Dawn out on their way.
Yeah.
Dawn's mouthing off sarcastically about getting into another car accident as they open the door and a woman from social services, or I prefer to say child protective services because there's kind of a difference.
Yeah.
Is standing there.
Well, Child Protective Services is what we have here in Michigan.
Right.
It might be social services in California.
Probably. It's probably the same difference between a DMV and the Secretary of State that we have, because Michigan's weird.
Yeah.
We might as well just be Canada.
Can we?
Hey, Canada?
Please, can we be Canada
Can we
now?
please just be you?
Can you guys annex Michigan, please? I would rather be Canadian.
100% serious. Not joking. Please do that. Oh, my God.
I don't necessarily want to move to Canada, but I would love to be in Canada now.
That'd be
get my drift?
That'd be so much easier. That'd be perfect.
Wait. We're doing it again.
Oh, yeah.
Damn existential dread. It just creeps in. It creeps in.
Yeah.
It permeates.
It's what they want. It's what they want. Don't let him.
Well, this guy wants to fight with weapons. I've got it covered from A to Z. From axe to the other axe.
I'm fairly certain I said no interruptions.
No, we meet Doris Kroger.
Kroger, that's right. And yeah, it only gets worse from here.
It really does.
Buffy didn't know what day of the week it was, so she didn't know the meeting was today. She's like, oh, I thought it was Wednesday. This is Wednesday, Xander confirms. They immediately see Spike in the living room.
The framing and everything, he's full punk rock
Absolutely.
glory.
He does a great job of making an otherwise respectable-looking house look fucking trashy.
Yeah.
Buffy makes him take his blanket and go.
He tries to defend Buffy, and it does not go well.
Yeah, he's like, as soon as he finds out that she's from social services, he stands up and he's like, oh, Buffy's a great mom.
When Dawn was spending too much time in my crypt, she just put an end to that right away.
I'm sorry, did you say no? Crib.
Yeah, crib.
Like, good. Nice catch. Good backup, Buffy.
And then she proceeds to tell Doris that, because Doris thinks, like, what, your boyfriend lives here? Mm-hmm. And she's like, no, he's not my boyfriend.
Bitch, please.
And he does not live here. The only people who live here is me and Dawn. And then Willow, who's staying home, yells from upstairs. And then she's like, oh, yeah, Willow. Willow also lives here.
Yeah, one of those statements was almost true, Buffy.
Yeah.
Almost.
But one of my quotes of the day here, because she's like, oh, that's Willow. She kind of lives here too, actually. And Miss Kroger goes, oh, so you live with another woman? Buffy's response is, it's not a gay thing, you know. I mean, well, she's gay, but we don't gay.
Is that how she said it?
Yes, but we don't gay. Not that there's anything wrong with, you know, I know what that looks like, but I swear it's not what it looks like. As she's like going on, Doris looks down at the box of witch paraphernalia, and I think it's a bag of sage.
Yeah.
Or
pencil shavings.
Yeah. Buffy picks it up. She's like, oh, no, that's not what it looks like. It's magic weed. It's not mine. Throws it.
Yeah. First of all, never been a more welcome time to find a bag of what looks like weed to dig her out of the weeds.
Yeah.
On the whole gay thing. No, she's gay, but I'm not gay. But the sex is fantastic. But then, of course, has to deal with the magic weed thing. And I'm like, magic weed?
Yeah.
Man, can you just imagine smoking weed mixed with psilocybin? That would fuck you up so hard.
I'm sure that is a thing.
I'm
I don't
sure
know
somebody's...
enough about. I do not know personally enough about drugs or weed, for that matter, to know if that's a thing. But it sounds like it's probably a thing.
I feel like that would kill you. Just the stress.
What doesn't kill you just makes you weirder.
Yeah, and mentally unstable. Yeah,
but yeah,
I've never seen somebody dig such a fantastic hole so quickly.
The line of she's gay, but we don't gay.
But we don't gay. Yeah, something about turning nouns into verbs. Yeah. Very entertaining.
And Buffy does it so well.
I guess that's an adjective into a verb, but still, you know, same premise.
Wording in a way that word shouldn't word.
Word.
Yeah.
Word.
But yeah, Doris is like, I think I've seen enough. And she's like, I'm just going to leave.
Yeah, and you'd better get your shit together, young lady, or I'm going to take away your guardianship of Dawn. And I'm like, but she was created by a spell. She's not even real. Well, I guess neither are Social Security numbers and money. So she's as real as anything.
My thought here, though, is like, you can't do that. You can't just walk in, see some things that don't add up, and be like, you know what, we're done here. Like, you got to continue on with the fucking full interview.
Yeah.
Like, you have regulations and hoops to jump through, bitch.
She is terrible at her job.
And I also think everyone knows it with the reactions later. With
right? That happens. Yeah, so the concerned nosy bitch finally fucks off. And by the way, social services or even child protective services isn't nearly this proactive, and her living situation would have to be way worse than this to actually get this kind of attention from them. But, you know, whatever. TV's fun, isn't it?
I have a lot of white trash in my family. I've seen some shit.
Yeah.
And they don't care.
No, they don't give a shit.
They don't care.
They're so jaded.
The government does not give a shit. And the government be like, well, they're fed. Nothing's happening.
They're fed and they have a place to sleep.
Yeah.
That's about the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No way would no one in her position would give this much of a shit.
Yeah, like my only personal experience with Child Protective Services from when I was a child was my mom had an abusive boyfriend for a while that she was scared to break up with, and I fucking hated this guy. And Child Protective Services came and talked to me at school. I would think I was in 4th or 5th grade. Mm-hmm. And they were like, do you think he would ever hurt you or your mother? And I was like, oh, no, he'd never do anything like that. This was, of course, before he had ever done anything like that. And then he proceeded to do anything like that. Yeah. And I was like, why did you listen to the 5th grader, you fucking idiots? Jesus Christ.
Well, and like Doris's whole like motive here is like Dawn's been absent and tardy a lot from school and her grades are dropping. But it's like
they're not even looking at that.
But also the school counselors and the teachers would be like, well, her fucking mom died.
Right? Yeah. I think that's the only thing that would have really gotten Buffy on the radar in the first place for this kind of thing. And you'd think they'd be a little more supportive. Like, hey, sorry, your mom died. Can we give you some money? Maybe some free therapy? But no, we're just going to come in and be judgy and not let you explain anything.
But also, like, bitch, you are the guardian of a 16-year-old girl. Why are you not getting some fucking government assistance? You don't have a job.
Oh,
Buffy qualifies for fucking welfare.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. Oh, I should have written a plot hole Emporium. Son of a bitch. Oh, well. Maybe next episode.
It's like how the trope in particularly 90s TV and 90s movies was something bad happened and then the bank is repossessing everything.
Oh, right.
And like literally everything.
Yeah, they come in and take a trophy out of their hand or some shit.
And it's like
no, that's a waste of time.
It's like nobody owes that much to the bank. Like the bank will be like, oh, we're taking your house, but like you keep your shit. Mm-hmm. Unless like it's all somehow the bank owns it all. That's not how that works.
No. But, like I said, TV's fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a fun little trope. So Spike is still there, of course, and he pops back up to try and be supportive. Granted, this is after being told to leave multiple times. And as per usual, he gets angry. And I'm torn on that because, I'd be mad too if my legitimate shows of empathy and support were constantly spurned. But also, we can't really be sure that he isn't just being manipulative.
But the other thing is like let's say it is legitimate shows of concern and empathy. Mm-hmm. Let's pretend, I don't think it is, but let's pretend it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't fucking matter.
Because she told him to leave.
A, she told him to leave, and B, she has repeatedly said, fuck off, go away. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, she does keep making the mistake of purposely, pointedly going back.
Right.
But
yeah, like lots of mixed signals, and I'm not saying there's anything healthy about either of their behavior. I'm just saying this one specific point in a vacuum.
Yeah,
I would also be upset.
Right
about.
Like, I would be upset if I was trying to show genuine empathy and somebody just jumped down my throat.
Said, "Fuck off, get out of my house."
That being said, if you're that much of a fucking asshole as he's been, then you don't deserve to be angry that nobody wants your fucking sympathy.
Absolutely. And, he handles it the way he handles everything anyway. He just, instead of turning around and leaving, he walks towards her, slams the wall next to Buffy, pinning her up against the wall. And as we think he's groping her again, and she starts to go, ah, but he's just getting into her pocket to find his lighter.
Yeah.
And he finds it.
I hypothesize that he discovered the lighter was there the first time he was groping her.
Ah, very possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, when did she have the time to pocket it after throwing it in the box? Who the fuck knows?
I don't think she threw it in the box. I think she just pocketed it when she found it.
No, they showed her throwing it in the box in the first part of the episode.
Did they?
Yeah, when she finds it, I think it's even...
I remember showing her like holding on to it, but I didn't remember throwing it in the box.
I could have sworn she threw it in the box with all the other magic shit that they're getting rid of.
I don't recall that. Maybe.
So, I mean, maybe she pocketed it once he was there looking for it, and she didn't want him to find it for whatever reason. I don't know.
Anyway, he leaves, goes towards the back, calls her Goldilocks as he does.
Yeah, just getting all it came for, love.
And she is upset, and she goes upstairs, closes her door, and then proceeds to cut off her hair.
Yeah. At first I was like, I suppose, yeah, that's a lot to take in all at once. Dawn being pissed at you, botching the meeting with social services, and
on
Spike,
top of feeling the guilt that you weren't there for your friend, and
feeling guilty about being attracted to Spike, but also hating him.
Yeah. That's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah.
And then she's like, you know what? I don't like him calling me Goldilocks, and I'm going to fix that.
Yeah. And she does her best, but then we cut to a salon where some poor woman is like, I think I can work with this. What do you want me to do exactly? Buffy is just like, just make me different.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
The attitude Buffy has is like, it's not a hairdresser, it's a plastic surgeon. And she's like trying to go into fucking witness protection or some shit.
Right? Yeah, that's...
I want a different face.
I want them to take my face off. Anyway, cut to...
I haven't seen that movie in forever.
It's been ages, but every show I watch, I swear, there's always somebody... It's one of the most referenced movies from our generation. Even though it was so bad, it was good. I loved that movie when it came out, but it's an objectively terrible movie.
I'll have to watch it again with more of a modern view.
No, the premise is just so ridiculous because obviously the bone structure of your body and face does not allow you to disguise yourself as someone else by putting their skin on your face.
Right.
This isn't Silence of the Lambs. And it didn't even work there. So back to Buffy.
Frankly, it's ludicrous to have these interlocking bodies and not interlock.
Putrefying diseases. It'll make you blind and insane, but it won't kill you.
Light up at your candles and have sex near them.
So far, I like it.
Please remove your clothing now.
We're in an alleyway.
Yes, the trio park their van in the alleyway, and they get out, and they're talking about their going on a mission, and turns out they're really just going to a spa to see naked women.
Is that what that was about?
Yeah.
Okay. I knew that Andrew said something about, oh no, we don't get to see naked women later, but I was like, I don't care.
I love how these guys are so fucking dumb that they get out of their van, they walk around to the front of the store. They're standing in front of the big fucking giant windows to the salon or the spa or whatever. Before turning themselves invisible.
Yeah.
And they're like getting ready to turn each other visible or invisible.
Yeah.
And then they see Buffy. And then as Warren is like looking at Buffy, he realizes he's no longer holding the invisible ray and turns around, and Andrew and Jonathan have run into the alley with the invisible ray. And so he runs into the alley, and then they're wrestling over it to turn each other invisible to hide. Mm-hmm. If they were just smart enough to, I don't know, turn themselves invisible before showing up, it would have been fine.
Yeah, huge missed opportunity on Plot Hole Emporium for this episode. That's my bad, guys.
I like to think this isn't a plot hole. They're just fucking idiots.
They're just that dumb.
Yeah.
That's also...
They're just that dumb.
That's kind of where they're going with these guys anyway. So, yeah.
They're wrestling over the gun. Yeah. They end up accidentally breaking it or something and falling over. And when they do that, it shoots Buffy, traffic cone, a fire hydrant, and a dumpster.
All that I noticed in the scene where it happens was it turned a tree invisible.
Right, it also turned a tree
next
invisible.
to Buffy. But yeah, we find out about that other stuff in another scene or two. Yeah, that happens, and then Andrew literally goes, oopsie. I'm like, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But that's just one man's opinion. My opinion.
And since, this is our podcast, that opinion matters.
Since I've been doing a podcast about it for 7 years,
yeah.
I'm just going to go ahead and say that my opinion carries more weight than most.
Yeah.
No, sir, I don't like it. I don't like it. Cut to the magic box with a stupid Buffyverse flip here, where we cut to Xander saying, "Where's Buffy? She's gone." But guess what? He's not talking about what we think he's talking about, because he's talking about planning for the seating arrangement at the wedding reception.
Yeah.
And gosh, that's funny.
And then they make a joke of like, no, you can't put Buffy with my family. We like
Buffy. Yeah, that was good. Absolutely. Okay, now we're back to jokes about hating family. Now I'm back on board. You got me. You got me.
Pointedly, the dichotomy of like, man, we don't know who will get along with who is the reason why we pointedly did not do a seating arrangement on our wedding.
All right. Well, and then I was, this made me think of the moment where I don't know who he was. Some guy and his girlfriend or wife, I don't know, sat at the table with me and the wedding party. And everybody else like was too chicken shit to say anything. So I had to be like, hey, this table's just for the wedding party. Like, I don't want to be a dick about it, but you can't sit here. And then he was like, oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, I was wondering. My bad. He walks away. Tyler was like, thank God. I did not want to be that guy. So anyway, yeah, weddings.
Yeah, I did not
Fun.
know that happened.
That's a thing that happened.
Just because I haven't had a tangent in a while, I do want to say this. Attending a wedding is very different than being in the wedding.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, the amount of things that apparently happened through the night that I am completely unaware of is impressive. Just because I was too busy. My spouse was too busy. Like, we had too much shit going on, and we had their maid of honor as our information buffer. And, like, the amount of shit that happened and was dealt with without us ever knowing a thing was fucking beautiful.
It's like, that's what you wanted, though.
Yes.
So
that's exactly what we wanted.
You're welcome.
It went great. It went great.
Y'all were stressed out enough. Without any of that shit.
Yep.
Goddamn. Anyway, the door opens. We don't see anyone come through. Then the door closes.
I love how neither Xander or Anya even fucking look at the door.
They don't even turn around. Might be a customer. Might not be.
Yeah.
We'll find out the hard way. But Buffy makes her debut as an invisible Buffy for Xander and Anya, and she apparently doesn't remember or somehow didn't see what happened. We don't know what she doesn't remember really, because she only got so far as explaining that she was leaving the salon from getting a haircut, and Anya freaks out. Oh my God, how short is it? That sounds adorable.
Hold on, I do want to put another quote of the day here. Xander like reaches out to like touch Buffy and accidentally apparently gropes her. Like legitimately accidentally does.
Of course. I believe you.
Yeah. But
why are you backing up Xander, huh?
Xander's line is, "Oh, sorry. Oh, her clothes are invisible too." Buffy, how did this happen? Wait a sec. Have you been feeling ignored lately?
Right. Pretty good callback to the other episode.
Season 1, episode 11. Out of mind, out of sight.
Yeah,
when Marcy is ignored and becomes invisible.
Right, and they don't even tiptoe around it. Buffy's just like, no, it's not a Marcy thing.
Yeah.
If only.
But I like that he's like, oh, her clothes happen to be invisible too. Good.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Since you can't see her at all. Anyway, yeah, so Buffy starts playing with a couple of some kind of orbs. They're like baseball size that kind of look like eyes and making them do eyeball
like, kind
things.
Of like croquet balls.
Yeah, a little smaller though.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious. And I'm like, man, she's finally having some fun. I like this Buffy. Invisible Buffy's great times. Must be fucking nice.
Like, honestly, though, Invisible Buffy is the first time we've seen her fucking relax.
This is the first time we've seen her in any way happy and relaxed since she came back from the dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I fucking hope she's starting to pull her head out of her ass.
It was a nice step in that direction, definitely. Anya wonders why anyone would ever turn the Slayer invisible, and Xander's more worried about how anyone could turn the Slayer invisible. And he's also even more concerned with getting her turned visible again. And he stops mid-sentence as he wonders, who would ever mess around with that kind of power?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
No, but Buffy does say that she's going to go out and,
clear her head.
And chuckles at the joke as she leaves.
Yeah.
Xander is going to go talk to Willow and investigate the scene of the crime and Anya is just going to research things.
Yeah.
Which I don't think she researches a lick of shit before Xander gets back. Like, she's just doing wedding stuff.
Oh, yeah. Even if she's looking at some sort of spell research book, her head is all wedding.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Another moment of note. Buffy makes a skull float.
Yes.
And moves its jaw and goes, "Sarai," which I don't understand. I don't know what that reference is from, and I don't understand why it's supposed to be funny. But it doesn't matter. It's some sort of vaudeville act, I want to say.
I can't remember.
Because you're supposed to have two things going back and forth. Sarai, 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 Sarai. And I don't, like I said, I don't get it. I don't really care. It's just something that gets referenced a lot. And if somebody wants to send us a link, if you're some sort of...
Oddly, the wiki does not mention that under the pop culture references.
Interesting. Well, because I certainly wouldn't call it pop culture.
Right. But, like, that just means that the joke is so deeply ingrained in our history that it's not seen as a pop culture reference anymore.
Yeah, because that would have been from, like, the fucking 20s or something. And there's probably not even any recordings of the original act. But I'm completely talking out of my ass.
Yeah.
So moving along. Yeah, we cut to Willow at Buffy's house because she's obviously suddenly the prime suspect. And Willow's back to reading books and using a computer like a normal geek, but also is just about to telekinetically grab a book from across the table just as Xander stomps through the door.
I want to mention that she starts to do it, catches herself, and stops herself.
Yeah, she doesn't stop herself because of Xander.
Exactly.
She's really trying.
I just feel that is an extremely important distinction that needs to be made, is the 2 times where she almost uses magic in this episode, she herself stops herself, not somebody else doing it.
The second time I find questionable, but let's get to that when we get there.
Deal.
Okay. Yeah, so we get a little bit of actual plot arc info. She's researching the diamond.
Yeah.
Finds that it's got some sort of magical properties. I didn't write anything down about it.
It is pseudo-metaphysical or quantum mechanical.
That's right.
Properties.
Ooh.
Or something like that.
Delving into science shit.
Yes.
Oh, boy. So it's a little bit sci-fi.
Yeah.
But, the gun is a little bit sci-fi.
Yeah. There's a nice little play because Xander walks in pretty much with the attitude of like, you know what's going on. You know what you did. And she has no fucking clue.
Oh, you don't know what you did.
But at one point, Xander's like, we'll figure it out. Relapse is part of the process. We'll put our heads together and we'll fix Buffy. And Willow's response is, Buffy's broken? I mean, she's been broken. for a while now.
Yeah.
Now she's also invisible.
Yeah, not much more than she already was. But it is a problem that needs to be remedied. And at least this is a way that they actually, it's a tangible thing that they can wrap their heads around instead of, psychology. Because, boy, that's the softest science of all soft sciences, ain't it?
Yeah.
Damn. So, it's obvious she doesn't...
I'm not allowed to say that, though. I'm married to a therapist.
Yeah. Seems like that would be the first thing that a therapist needs to admit to themselves is that it's a soft science.
I have had this argument, Josh.
Dear. Oh,
dear.
We're
not...
Okay.
We do not call it a soft science in our household.
Gotcha. Firmly in denial about it. Great. I will remember that. So, it's pretty obvious she doesn't know what he's talking about. No. And she gets all touchy about it because, that sure is more dramatic and fun than her being understanding, isn't it?
Well, honestly...
No, I'd be pissed off, too. Be like,
I think
fuck you. Well, fuck you.
Yeah.
See?
Exactly.
It's so fun.
I think it's very important that her being mad isn't...
I'm probably startling so many people with...
Right.
Why is he so angry all of a sudden? Oh, my God. Fuck you.
God damn it, Josh. What the fuck was I going to say? I think it's specifically indicative of the way that Xander handled it. He handled it very badly. He came in with the direct assumption it's her fault. He has 100% zero evidence. Mm-hmm. There's no evidence except he thinks, well, if it is a spell, she could do it. So it's gotta be her. Mm-hmm. And you're still the Scooby Gang. It's still the Hellmouth. They're still bad guys.
He'll be right later in the season.
Well, yeah. But he's not now.
He's not now.
And he should have handled it a little bit more gently.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, you said indicative. We're not even to the Spike scene yet. Jeez. So she goes out for a walk, leaving Xander feeling like a dick because he is a dick.
Indicative.
He's indicative. There's a joke in there somewhere.
Yeah, he's a dick.
Yeah, because he is a dick. And, it was a good logical hypothesis, but he was just wrong, and he could have been more tactful about it.
Be good.
We will. We're just gonna play with matches, run with scissors, take candy from some guy. I don't know his name. I'm finished being everybody's butt monkey.
Cut to the trio's basement.
Yeah, where Warren is trying to fix the gun. Andrew is super sad about their non-naked woman plans working.
Boo-hoo. Go to a strip club.
Yeah. Also, they stole a shit ton of money. They can afford to go to a strip club.
Right? Yeah.
Come on.
I didn't even write that part down. I was thinking it, though.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
Mm-hmm. And Jonathan's the only one of them who's even marginally worried, but he is more than marginally worried about the only thing that they should be worried about, which is an invisible slayer.
Yes.
Which is not good.
I give them credit on Jonathan at least thought that part through, that her being invisible is really fucking bad.
Mm-hmm.
Because, she's going to show up and kick their asses. And you can't do anything if you can't see her.
Correct.
It sucks.
It would suck. And she does that later, too.
Yes.
Both. Indicative.
This is the scene, though, that really shows the true difference between the three of them. Because Jonathan and Andrew are upset that, invisible Buffy can ruin their plans.
Right.
But then also they find out through Warren that she's going to die.
Right.
Because... the molecular shit.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
The molecular shit. Sci-fi.
But yeah, he is definitely the murderer of the bunch.
Oh, absolutely. It sets Warren apart in the group.
Yeah.
Because Andrew and Jonathan can at least agree that they don't want to murder anybody. They
Right.
just want to be crime lords. And I think Jonathan might kind of want to be a crime lord. Andrew's just a follower.
Yeah.
Andrew's easily the bottom of the totem pole here. Yeah, I hate to break it to you, Jonathan, but crime lords are probably...
murderers.
I don't have any personal experience with this, but I feel like most crime lords are murderers.
I mean, they also base their shit off of comic books and such.
And I'm just basing my experience of crime lords off of movies and TV.
Right.
But
rated R movies and TV.
Yeah. Ones that feel a hell of a lot more plausible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've seen Breaking Bad, okay? Obviously.
That's exactly where my mind went as well.
So, and Dexter.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we cut to the park.
Yeah, where Buffy's doing some terrorizing.
Just a little bit. Just some light terrorizing.
You know, I can't say I wouldn't do that too.
Oh, God, yes. I absolutely.
There would be a certain level of mischievousness that comes naturally if you're invisible, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. They can't see me. So she steals this lady's studded ball cap, and she's like, "Ooh, I'm the ghost of fashion past." Throws it away, and the lady runs off screaming, "Hey, I did you a favor." I mean, I'm just trying to figure out, when were studded baseball caps ever in fashion?
Probably the 80s.
That sounds right. I don't know.
Maybe the mid-90s.
Studs, anyway. Because rhinestones were 60s or 70s.
Yeah. Early 90s, I think. Late 80s, early 90s.
But a studded ball cap doesn't feel like it ever really had any true place in fashion. I don't know. I'm not a fashion person.
No.
If you are, you're not listening to this podcast.
Probably true.
Please buy our t-shirts.
Yes.
All right. And our hoodies. Yeah, because also, who gives a shit? Oh, right. People in California, because they're snobs.
Right.
Yeah. So Buffy next is looking around for what she can be mischievous about next, and she lands on stealing a parking enforcement car, which I use the term car very lightly.
Those look fun to drive.
Oh, absolutely, but
because it's go-kart-esque.
It's scarcely
but it looks
more than
it's more than a go-kart.
Scarcely more than a golf cart.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of somewhere between a golf cart and a mail truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
old mail trucks.
Golf carts are a blast.
Oh, absolutely.
I've loved every golf cart I've ever driven. Was fun.
Yeah. I'm not knocking it. I'm just trying to give an accurate description.
That's fair.
For people who haven't seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
And if you haven't seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer, why the fuck are you listening to this show?
And also, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm honored.
Yeah.
That you would rather listen to us than watch an award-winning TV show.
Yeah.
So, she steals the parking enforcement car, and the first place she goes is the fucking social services building.
I do want to say they slightly missed the joke because they did not have her specifically parking the enforcement vehicle in a place that you definitely can't park.
Oh, yeah.
She should have parked it in front of a hydrant or something.
Yeah.
That would have been funnier.
Mm-hmm. Up on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Double park.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But
it probably still would have been lost on me, but that certainly would have been a nice Easter egg.
Exactly.
So Buffy goes and finds Mrs. Kroger, the social services lady, and immediately just starts fucking with her.
There's no way this woman hasn't already had issues.
Right?
Because she goes 0 to 100 far too fast.
Way too quickly.
And the way specifically that her coworkers react to her,
uh-oh,
this
crazy Doris.
This woman has had concerns and issues in HR meetings.
Crazy Doris missed her meds again. Shit.
Because, rather than taking the coffee moving and it speaking kill, kill, kill as like some kind of joke. She just starts responding like it's something that she's experienced before.
Right. Yeah. I would have stood up and started swinging.
Right.
Like, who's there? Who the fuck is, what the fuck is going on?
How are you playing this prank on me?
Yeah.
Like, not the coffee is evil.
Yeah. The dancing coffee voice.
Yeah.
And also Buffy missed another, she was way too casual with the way she said, kill, Doris, kill. She should have whispered it.
Yeah.
That would have been way creepier. But I guess she was just having a good time. Whatever.
I mean, through the whole episode of her being invisible, there's this kind of like, she's too loudly narrating what she's doing. And like, I get why it's a TV show and it's obviously no one's actually there. Mm-hmm. So we need something to be like, what is she doing?
Yeah.
But it, like, after Doris leaves and she like starts looking through the files, like she's talking at a conversational level.
Oh, right.
Of like, no, this is the wrong file. This isn't it. Oh, here we are. Here's the right file.
And she practically shares a cubicle with the lady sitting next to her.
And like, you'd have to be a little discreet.
Yeah, and she's just flipping through the files like nobody saw that.
Yeah. Like nobody hears this.
Yeah. This place looks like the goddamn library from Ghostbusters right now, okay?
It does.
Anyway, it was fine though. It was fine. TV.
But, Doris runs off. She pulls up her file and starts typing on the computer. After the scene cuts and Doris is coming out of the bathroom, and I guess her supervisor like pulls her to a side to discuss the Summers case.
Yeah. Good timing.
Doris apparently is fine now. She must have taken her meds, I guess, because her mini psychotic break is over. She grabs the file and opens it up, and it's just pages of all work and no play make Doris a dull girl. And
obviously a reference to The Shining.
Yep. And there's a bunch of pages printing out of the printer.
Actively. But she swears she didn't do it. It was the voice that made her coffee dance and told you to do what, Doris? And she shuts up before she tells him that it wanted her to kill everyone.
Yes.
Because she's not as dumb as they immediately started to portray her, but still not smart enough. Because I wouldn't have said a single word of any of that to anyone ever.
And her boss also is like, you know what? Maybe you need to just take the day off.
Why don't you just...
We'll have somebody else redo the Summers interview.
Take a personal day, yeah.
But his whole response to me says that this has already happened before.
See, my take on it was... Some people just don't have enough trauma, and it shows. Because she was so trusting.
Right?
That they would believe her.
Yeah.
Just and take
Maybe
her word
you're right.
Take her at her word for it.
She just lacks the trauma, because if somebody who had experienced trauma saw that, they'd been like, this again.
Well, never going to tell anybody that.
Yeah. You don't trust authority figures when you have trauma?
Not even a little bit. So, yeah. Her boss tells her to fuck off.
At least she was smart enough to be like, I should not tell them that the coffee told me to kill people.
Yeah. Yeah. She's like, okay, they're not receiving the rest of this story well. Something tells me it's only going to get worse. I'm just going to... So the trauma sets in quickly.
Yeah.
Is my point here. It does its job. It's very efficient, trauma.
Yes.
Yeah. So this episode of Beer with Buffy brought to you by the letter T for trauma.
Yes.
Her boss tells her to fuck off, and they'll put someone else on the case and redo the Summers interview. Mission accomplished. Go, Buffy. Cut to the street.
Fear me.
He's so cute.
You didn't sense a hyena energy at all, did you? Because hyena possession is just unpleasant.
Run, flee, maybe skedaddle.
Oh, I miss the free hot dogs on sticks.
Cut to the street where Xander finds Willow at the alleyway. the scene of the crime. She's spray painting a dumpster pink.
Was it a dumpster? Okay.
Yes.
I didn't take the time to figure out what the hell it was.
Yeah, she's spray painting a dumpster.
Mm-hmm. She's snippy at first. I forget about what, but then they apologize to each other and back to business as usual. And she found a bunch of invisible things, a fire hydrant, a road cone, some tire marks. She tells Xander to take the cone back to the magic shop, and she had scraped some black paint off of the invisible fire hydrant, which she theorizes came from the van that made the tire marks. So she's going to try and find the van. Rex, I don't remember a single fucking line from earlier about a van.
So they shouldn't know it's a van, but they did see the tire track. So Willow did hypothesize to Xander that the tire track meant that there was a vehicle here that took off real quick.
Yeah.
And she obviously must have saw the paint on the fire hydrant, probably because the paint was floating in midair.
Yeah. But they make it, she specifically says, this has got to be from Buffy's van or something like that, something to that effect. And it makes it sound like, oh, I missed something in the scene earlier.
You didn't know.
No, I went back and checked. I absolutely didn't miss anything, but I think something got cut and they never went back and fixed it.
That might be.
In the rest of the script.
There's definitely like a leap here where it's like Willow is really jumping to a conclusion that tire track came from the vehicle of whoever turned Buffy invisible.
Yeah.
I could go outside right now. Well, not right now because it's winter, but anytime through the year and find a fucking tire track.
Yeah.
Where somebody peeled out.
Like all that they needed to do to make the rest of this episode make sense with Willow's whole thing about finding a van was instead of like at the same time that Anya interrupted Buffy about her hair in that scene around about that time, Buffy should have said something about, I saw a van peel out. That was it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all we needed. And she was invisible. You didn't even have to go back and refilm it, guys.
Right?
You could have shoehorned that line in somewhere.
Yeah.
So that I think that was some bad editing, or
it does seem like maybe they had a plan for the rest of that scene of the trio getting into the van and peeling out.
Yeah,
and maybe they just cut that.
Maybe like that's got something to do with it. I don't know, but whatever. Yeah, the suddenly talking about a van shit makes no sense to me. So I'll throw that in the not happening plot hole Emporium bucket over here, and we can move on.
Yeah, so she gives Xander the cone to take back for him and Anya to use, and then she's going to do her own research with science.
Yeah, she's going to go find... It's like, even if Buffy did say something about a van earlier, now the only proof that she has here is a tire track and a scraping of paint.
Yeah.
And she's going to find a black van, doesn't know the maker model...
or the license plate.
Or have any other description.
Somehow she does this through the DMV.
So, but that's later. But that's her plan.
This is a terribly written episode.
It kind of is. But they're not paying attention to the logistics. I don't think it's a terribly written episode psychologically, but technically, the way the plot unfolds, there's some
plot
holes.
is a goddamn mess.
It's a bit of a mess. So, yeah, logistically. So, Willow wonders where Buffy is, and cut to...
where Buffy is.
Spike's crypt, where Buffy is, exactly.
Yeah, he's watching TV, sounds like a horror movie, gets up to drink some blood, and the crypt door opens. Nobody's there. He thinks it's a ghost.
He hears the TV click off.
Yeah.
A ghost, is it? Go and haunt the living, like a good spook. Which, if he hadn't literally just been talking about a ghost in that same sentence, would have come off really racist, but he wasn't.
Right.
So we're okay.
So the wiki on the show, every episode, it has a section for goofs. And this is the first goof that it's had that I can fucking remember, that it lists a goof that has nothing to do with the fact that they shot it widescreen and aired it in 4:3.
Huh, okay.
And like 99% of the times, the things that are listed as goofs are because the widescreen
shows
something that they would cut off.
That they wanted to be out of frame.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this one goof, and I just mention it because of how hilarious it is that they never list real goofs. And that is that when the camera turns to look at the door opening, Spike's TV is already off.
Oh, jeez.
And then you hear the TV get turned off.
Yeah. Well, I didn't notice, but okay. That's fun. He hears footsteps around him. He's starting to figure out maybe this isn't a ghost. You can see it on his face. And he suddenly gets grabbed and thrown against the wall, and his shirt flies open. And Buffy must do something super sexy to him that we can't really tell what it is at that point. You know, sexier than being thrown against a wall and disrobed, apparently, because he does the same thing she did earlier and gasps with pleasure. And he's like, Buffy? She's like, I told you, quote of the day, by the way, I told you, stop trying to see me. But I'm like, oh, Buffy.
I'm disappointed that it took him that long to realize it was her. He's a vampire with super smell.
Could have smelled. He would recognize her brand of blood.
Exactly. Like he
or her
would
perfume.
fucking know.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Right. That's way more implausible than her being invisible. Jackass.
Well, there's something to be said for like consistency within the world.
I know, I'm kidding. I hate it when people make that argument. It's like, oh yeah, that's the most implausible thing. Not that they're zombies. I'm like,
right.
Okay, listen, asshole. There's a premise that you accept.
Exactly.
And that's called suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
That is, yeah.
And it's the exact thing.
And that
here.
nullifies any asshole's argument who wants to be like, oh, that's the most implausible thing. No, shut up.
You set the premise, and that premise has to be consistent.
And it's a law that is accepted throughout the film or TV show.
You set the standard that vampires have super sense of smell, and they already have multiple scenes in other episodes where the vampire is doing something and smells the person trying to sneak up behind them. Mm-hmm. That has happened so many fucking times. It's happened with these two characters.
Oh, right? Yeah.
And they just disregard that.
Mm-hmm.
It's stupid.
It is. In fact,
we go to the magic box where Xander is researching, and Anya not researching so much as she's just thinking about the wedding. She can't come up with any option of what it could be. Doesn't sound plausible that it was magic, and she's got a good point, because if it was magic, it would not have also made the dumpster, hydrant, tree, and cone invisible either. But yeah, Xander does give her a little bit of shit for not researching and instead thinking about the wedding. As someone who has planned a wedding, if one of the two people is really hyper fixated on the wedding and you don't have to think about it as much, that is a blessing.
Right? That's funny. The last episode of Dexter I watched, Dexter and Rita are just going through that same phase. Like, she's all pissed off that he's not helping her, but she also doesn't want help. She's pregnant, you see.
Yeah.
So anyway, right. Buffy podcast. Okay. Yeah, Anya's having epiphanies about seating arrangements for the reception. They notice that the road cone is degrading into a gross pudding-like substance.
Yes.
Xander makes the logical jump that this will probably also happen to Buffy if they don't get their shit together on it. And, get on it. So, hooray, a sense of urgency. Just what this plot needed. Like, actually.
No, seriously.
I wasn't sure where it was going otherwise.
Cut to the trio's basement. Oh, no, this is when Warren explains that Buffy's going to die because molecular integrity, blah, blah,
huge
blah.
Dose of radiation.
Like Jonathan's upset.
Not that you can undo a huge dose of radiation,
right,
but
like
we digress.
I definitely had a moment where I'm like, okay, if a huge dose of radiation is what makes you invisible, then what? Uninvisibling somebody means that you're taking away that. Wouldn't she still melt?
It's anti-radiation, Rex.
Yeah.
It's like antimatter. You see. No, if Warren, all this technology that he's capable of, why did they need to rob something? He could just be a fucking tech bro billionaire already.
Right.
What the fuck is he doing wasting his time here? Why isn't he in Silicon Valley?
One of the things that really bothers me, particularly about this show, but it happens a lot in other shows too, is when you have a show that in of itself is not sci-fi, but it has like a sci-fi episode, which this show does do from time to time. That show does not have anybody on staff that says, actually, that isn't real science and that's not how that works.
Yeah.
Because, like, I love Star Trek.
Because why would they?
I love Star Trek. And Star Trek has immense levels of technobabble.
Yeah.
But you know what it has? Verisimilitude. Because they actually had people on staff that are like, actually, here's some real science that you can mix in there, and it actually has some real sense to what is going on.
Same with Futurama. Like you wouldn't expect it of a show as silly as Futurama, but yeah, and it's because they went balls deep, all in on being a sci-fi.
All I'm saying is, if you're gonna have sciencey shit on your goddamn show, fucking talk to real people.
Hire one person. Got it.
One consultant.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with all the witchy stuff. They should have hired consultants.
Yeah, they should have hired Hannah to consult about the Wiccan witchy stuff. So yeah, suffice to say, this Ray will absolutely kill her. I'm pretty sure it'll take longer than a day or two to die of radiation poisoning, but that's not even what they say is going to kill her. I guess I saw a short on TikTok, okay? It explained everything. I don't have time to go into it.
Dracula. Can't see bugger owes me 11 pounds for one thing. I got quite a few demons after me these days. It's blood. It's what I do.
Warren is fine with this because they're villains, you see, and that's all the justification he needs to kill whoever he wants just for funsies.
I mean, you know, the way I look at it is Jonathan and Andrew need to fuck off. Because Warren's owning it. Like, he's like, no, we're villains. I'm going to be a villain.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, you don't get to half-ass this. You either choose the life or you don't. But Jonathan and Andrew are like, no, we want to be bad, but not really bad. We want to be bad with a wink.
Exactly. And this is the part where he's like, well, we just want to be crime lords.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought that was
that was my goof.
One of the last scenes.
That was my goof. Anyway,
Andrew compares it to Lex Luthor, which is dumb for a litany of reasons, not the least of which being, if I want to say Lex Luthor was always trying to kill Superman. Maybe, I don't know.
Well,
I'm not a fucking Superman fan, and I don't want to get into it even a little bit.
No, it's fine.
So, Jonathan stands up to Warren and demands that they get the gun working again and find Buffy and revisible her. And Warren can tell when he's outnumbered and agrees smugly, or at least that's the impression we get at the time.
But he doesn't, you see. Dun-dun-dun.
Couldn't have seen that coming. Spoilers. Damn, Rex.
Cut to Spikes, where Xander enters and sees that the place is in a fucking disaster of a mess disarray.
He apparently didn't notice that the place was a rockin'.
Yeah.
And he came a knockin'. He just walks in.
Can I just say that, like,
if you walked in on somebody masturbating like that, you would maybe give them 5 minutes?
Yeah. Yes. But also, like, from the filmmaker's perspective, like, they very much were like, guys, we want to just blatantly have pornographic sex scene on screen, but since she's invisible, we can get away with this.
Sure. Yeah, and we want to get as close to showing James Marsters' dick as we can.
Exactly.
Just as close as possible.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be flopping around on set. There's no getting around that. No, I'm sure he was wearing those little, skin-colored underwear that, like, literally all it does is hold your dick down.
Right.
So that you can have just a tiny bit of propriety on set.
Seemed like the most uncomfortable thing on the planet.
Yeah, I can't imagine. But, man, this motherfucker's in shape.
Yes.
Either that or he's starving.
Right.
Probably both.
And like most actors have it in their contract that if they have to do a shirtless scene, they have to have like a certain amount of forewarning.
And he also specifically asked them for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, Xander's like, "Hey, Spike, old buddy, old pal, what you doing?" Really, Xander? What do you think? I'm exercising, of course.
I'm just saying I think the fanfic writers are onto something, because the only motive I can think that Xander has here is to see Spike's dick.
Hey, buddy, do you need a hand?
Like, that's his whole attitude. That's his whole attitude.
Like, really, Xander, you just interrupt that? Even if you think he's just masturbating, wait 5 minutes and come back, maybe? Well, he doesn't.
And he obviously thinks he's just masturbating, because he's like, "Oh, you're exercising."
Naked and in bed. Okay. Well, he doesn't give a shit and is like, "Look, fucker, I need to know where Buffy is. Also, your place looks like shit upstairs." And Spike sits on the edge of the bed, wrapped in a sheet, and Xander approaches him and rips off his pants, revealing his rock-hard Spander porn script, and Josh gets back to writing his actual notes. Because Spike has to pretend that he doesn't know that she's invisible, as Xander informs him, and promises he'll send her over if he runs into her.
I really
repeatedly with his penis.
Yes. I really appreciate Spike's acting here. Specifically because
this must have been a hard scene to shoot. I want to know, was Buffy just running around in a green screen suit the whole time?
No, definitely not, because like there's nothing to indicate that anybody was actually on that bed when Spike wasn't. There's no indentations.
I just felt like we didn't get a good enough shot of it to know, but okay.
I do, for a fact, believe that if this were a scenario that happened with these characters in real life, there's no way Spike would cover himself with the sheet. He would have just turned around, stood in front of Xander to make him as uncomfortable as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'd have had sound effects of his dick hitting the floor.
Yeah. Like, the only reason there's a sheet is this happens to be TV.
Exactly.
But yeah, so the whole time that Spike is trying to talk to Xander, Buffy is apparently doing naughty things.
Oh, she's like sucking on his ear. You can actually see his earlobe move.
Right.
Like, yeah, so the green screen thing doesn't even explain how they did some of these effects, because
strings. Very, very much strings.
Sure. Yeah, they could have just had a fishing line or whatever.
There's actually a moment. There was actually a moment when I was watching the scene when Buffy's holding the two eyeball things.
Yeah.
There was actually a split moment where I saw the string glint.
Oh, geez. But it must have been a rigid string, because they made
two
to make them turn.
One above, one below.
Oh, so they're like puppeteering it.
Yeah.
Sure. All right. Whatever. Boring. Yeah, Xander's all judgy, and he tells Spike to get a girlfriend, or else he'll have to take one for the team and stick his ass in the air like a cat and just let Spike have his way with them. Like, really go down to Browntown all the way. Come on, Spike. Xander and Spike. Spike and Xander.
They really did kind of miss the moment where, like, Xander should have said something to Spike in a way that, like, he wouldn't have said with Buffy there, kind of thing. Like there's no moment when Buffy has gotten any information in this whole episode that she couldn't have gotten otherwise.
Yeah.
Like, they really missed the opportunity that there should have been something
that's a good
that
point.
she found out because she was invisible.
Yeah, missed opportunity. Damn. Well, next time.
Yeah.
So the next time the universe wraps around and Buffy gets made again,
Right. Well, and
we'll be sure to remind them.
Obviously, what should have happened was when Buffy walked in invisible, she found that Xander and Spike were going at it. That's obviously what should have happened.
Yes, that is correct. I'm so glad you asked me that.
I didn't ask you anything.
Yes. So Spike considers this offer and remembers it for later. And as he turns to Buffy and gets all huffy that she's doing what she always does and is just coming to Spike for a reprieve of her actual life. But this is kind of a unique situation, but same difference. And also, by the way, that with the Spike considering it, the offer and remembering it for later was going back to the Xander, the Spander porn.
Oh.
Just in case you were confused about that.
I was a little.
The offer to go to Browntown.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Also, she can this way, being invisible, she can avoid the shame of anyone else knowing about it.
Yeah.
And Spike is actually understandably upset about this, again, in a vacuum.
Yes.
Not saying that he's right under any circumstances. But also, I just can't imagine it being particularly fun to have sex with an invisible woman. Like, that's probably one of the only times where I'm like, I need to be able to see.
Honestly, that's one of the two things that I hate most about how bad my eyesight is.
Right. Because your glasses are the first thing to go, like a cat.
I fucking hate it.
Knocked off. It's half the fun, at the very least, if not 75%. Anyway, as he's explaining that if he can't have all of her, then he doesn't want any of her, he looks down and gives us probably an excellent quote of the day.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite one. Looks down and goes, "Hey, that's cheating." Because he's obviously getting a blowy. I'm like, Buffy, you little minx. I like this Buffy. She's playful. I
miss the more happy-go-lucky, goofy Buffy.
Right.
Like, this episode makes, because we haven't seen her in a long while.
Yeah.
She's just sad and mopey this whole fucking season.
I missed fun Buffy. But yeah. Yeah, and so it's like, wow, she really is super into him. She should just fucking go for it at this point. Work out the details and the shame later. Come out of the Spike closet already, Buffy.
Honestly, I think there's legitimately two reasons that she has a problem with Spike.
What, him being evil?
I mean, no, honestly, I think she is really into that. No, the only two problems that she has is A, she knows that her friends would be bothered by it. Because Xander has made that fucking clear.
Yeah.
Over and over again how disappointed in her they would all be.
Yeah.
But B, she knows she is not in love with him. And she doesn't want to have... She wants to have fun with him. She's physically into him. But she wants something casual. And he won't do that. He is obsessed with her and thinks he's in love with her.
Yeah.
So she knows that he won't just keep it fucking casual.
Right. But he can't love her without having a soul.
Right.
So that's extra problematic.
Once upon a time, there was a kitty. She was very little, and she was all alone, and nobody wanted her.
Did the kitty get chosen by some nice people?
Well, now you ruined the ending.
So we cut back to Willow, who's hacking the DMV,
And almost falls off the wagon.
or just searching legally. I can't tell.
No, I can't tell either.
Okay, and yeah, almost uses magic to make the progress bar go faster, or to make it a successful progress bar. I don't know. As someone who used the internet in the 90s on a dial-up connection, I can say I wouldn't fucking blame her one goddamned bit if she was just trying to speed it up.
But also, though, the fucking progress bar is chugging along.
Oh, right? You don't know progress bars.
With that internet, That was impressively fast.
If you
what
weren't
is her
there.
fucking problem?
Like, I've literally seen estimated arrival times on a progress bar that said years.
I remember once the progress bar just not moving, and I'm like, I gotta go away and do things, but I want to know if it's actually doing something or just frozen.
Yeah.
So I took a piece of fucking masking tape and put it on the fucking computer screen to mark where the fucking progress bar was, so that when I came back in an hour, I could tell if it had fucking moved.
Yeah, because, God forbid they put tick marks on there.
Yeah.
But also, spoiler alert, everyone, 90% of the time, it was just frozen.
Yeah.
It wasn't actually doing anything, or if it was not capable of completing it in a humanly amount of time.
But yeah, like she almost falls off the wagon to make the progress bar go faster. But for fuck's sake, it's already chugging along fast.
Right? Yeah. Patience.
Man, she must have ADHD bad.
Right. But it goes through on its own, and she's fine. She hasn't fallen off the wagon yet. But boy, howdy, is she riding a razor's edge this episode.
Yeah.
She's having a good time. Cut to the street.
Yes, where Buffy is pissed that Spike threw her out.
Kicking her can all over the place.
I did, by the way, in the previous scene, like that Spike made mention of, like, get dressed if you can find your clothes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
how did she find her clothes?
I don't know about you, but I have many times in my life had to get dressed in the pitch dark.
Yeah.
And I have put my clothes on wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I could not fathom how difficult it would be to put clothes on when not only are the clothes invisible, but I am too.
Sometimes I can't find my clothes when they're not invisible,
Right.
and I have the lights on. Yeah. So, yeah.
Like, everyone has at least had the moment where they're like, holy what the fuck, my underwear is on backwards. It has been on backwards all day. How did I not notice this before now?
I've done that with t-shirts. Don't know that I've ever done that with underwear.
Well, then, aren't you special?
No, I think that makes you special, Rex.
Also possible. But, like, I take my glasses off. It is difficult to get dressed properly without them. Because I can't fucking see things. This would be 10 times worse.
I'm sorry, when you took your glasses off, all I could think was, where did this mole man come from?
Fuck you.
Woo! All right.
Don't make fun of my small beady eyes.
Too late.
Asshole.
And your skeezy cheeses. But it's all very well. God knows I'll never tell. We're on the street.
Yes.
Buffy kicks a can down the street, pissing and moaning that he kicked her out. What is this, bizarro world? And she pushes through a group of kids, and she's all like, I'm walking here. And they don't look nearly weirded out enough by this.
Every single time in this episode that she bumps into somebody tells me that she's doing it on purpose.
Right?
Like,
does that happen more than once?
Oh, yeah, through the arcade.
Oh, okay.
But, like, if...
Like, there was plenty of room to go around.
Oddly, I think if the character was a man, I would see a male character running into people on accident because they're invisible a lot. Because the toxic masculinity mindset of, I'm walking and everyone's going to move around me.
Yeah.
But there's no way.
I've had women do that to me on the sidewalk too, though. But I think it's overcompensation for men that do that.
Right. But also, that's now.
Yeah, you're right.
Not
That's
20
not
years
20
ago.
years ago. But no, I specifically go out of my way to get the fuck out of people's way, mostly because I don't want to have random confrontations on the street.
Yeah.
I'm not a fucking psycho. Anyway, cut to Buffy's house. Buffy tries to impress Dawn with being invisible, but real life comes screeching home, and the party's over when Dawn calls her out on being cavalier and not considering the consequences and ramifications of what's going on here. Why isn't she helping Xander and Anya figure it out? What if she stays like this forever? Dawn doesn't like talking to her while she's invisible. She can't see her, and she runs out upset because, yeah, that's an upsetting thing to find out.
Yeah, I think hands down, Dawn is 100% in the right with this argument.
Absolutely.
Like,
and she's just worried about her sister.
She was pissy and out of line earlier in the day, but this time, no. Like,
yeah.
Also, Dawn didn't get in trouble for being home late because Buffy didn't put two and two together.
Didn't even think about it because she was out fucking around being invisible.
Yep.
You know what? She needed the reprieve. She needed it.
Which also tells me that Dawn being upset is very legitimate because she knows that if Buffy does pull her head out of her ass, she's in trouble for not being there.
Yeah, I think Buffy spent her reprieve a little bit irresponsibly, but you know what? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Yeah. What happens in Spike's crypt gets written into fan fiction.
Also that. And what doesn't happen in Spike's crypt gets written into fan fiction as well. More so, almost, probably. So yeah, Dawn leaves upset. Then Buffy checks her answering machine, and it's Xander informing her of her inevitable Jell-O destiny if they don't get their shit together.
Pudding destiny, thank you.
Oh, pudding? Was it
yes,
pudding?
Pudding.
My bad. Don't want to get sued. Yeah, pudding's much more generic.
Specifically tapioca pudding.
Ew. Yeah. But it's got the Jell-O balls in it. It's like boba tea. Anyway. Yeah. Or maybe it's just chunky because it's like cottage cheese.
Tapioca. That's what tapioca is.
I don't know how to make tapioca pudding. All right, so the common theme today for Buffy, getting shit together. I mean, I really can't blame her for checking out the way that she has been. I think the writers are really nailing the psychology of her stress in this episode. That's probably why so many people still resonate with this show so many years later.
It also specifically resonates with someone with inattentive ADHD. Because when I get stressed, my fucking inattentiveness cranks up, and then I'm just in a fucking fugue state for a couple of days. And, like, that is exactly the kind of response I would probably have to this level of stress.
Okay.
Like, well, I'm checked out. Bye.
Yeah. Wait, very relatable.
Yeah.
That's the point here. Next, we're going to cut to the van.
So, yeah, somehow with the mystifying art of hacking, Willow is able to track down the van by the paint and the DMV.
Mm-hmm.
Makes no goddamn sense.
None whatsoever.
Because, the DMV totally registers what paint the vehicles are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's DNA in paint,
yes.
You see.
Which also we happen to know because of the previous episode, the paint on this particular van is not factory.
Mm-hmm.
Because they painted the van.
Yeah. And since they've mapped the genome of combustion vehicles.
Yes. But yeah, anyway, she finds Warren's house. She just walks right the fuck in.
It doesn't even bother making sure, casing the place, or telling anybody where she is or why.
Yeah. And, she comes in, she sees the plans for the invisible ray, and she's looking at the invisible ray, and this is when she finds out that the trio are invisible.
Huh,
because
weird.
Somehow they knew she was coming? I guess. I don't.
Maybe they were concocting some other plan
with being invisible. I guess. Well, like if they had
a
line,
they didn't even have the foresight to make themselves invisible before they fucking invaded whatever that place was,
the spa.
Yeah,
like at the very least, have them have a line that like. They're like, oh, we'll turn ourselves invisible, to hide from Buffy, until she dies or something. I don't know,
or cut to or even whispers where they're like, no, shut up, I'm here, I'll make you invisible, as she's looking through the place.
I'm really looking forward to one of the episodes in season 7 that was written by the same person.
Okay.
This person, in the wiki, this person wrote 2 episodes. This is one of them. And I really can't wait to see the next one to see if that is just as terrible.
Yeah, wow, they brought them back after this.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Like the whole episode feels like there are scenes missing.
Right.
Like, like there's too many leaps of like that. Like it doesn't make sense that they're invisible. It also like they know that if they turn invisible, they will melt
in like 24 hours.
Yes.
Ish.
So like why, if you know that turning invisible could be a death sentence if something happens to the only device that can turn you back, why would, like, oh my God. It makes no sense.
As long as they fixed the device, then I can see that being less of a concern. But something happening to it, certainly well beyond their level of foresight.
Exactly. And like, for fuck's sake, wrestling over the gun in the alleyway broke it to where you had to fix it. So you're going to fix it, then turn yourself invisible, giving yourself a time limit that if it breaks again, you're under the wire to fix it again. This is a terribly written episode.
This writer had strengths, but this was not one of them.
No. Plotting is a problem here.
It's kind of a problem. Yeah, great insight into psychology, bad insight into everything else. So they take her hostage, whatever. We go to Buffy's house. Buffy answers the phone, and it's either Warren or Jonathan. It's Jonathan in retrospect.
Because she's like, you sound familiar.
Yeah. And he's telling her that they have her friend Willow and to meet them alone. And it's in a really stupid voice that she recognizes but can't place it. And she asks where? Cut to
an arcade.
An arcade. I thought it was going to be the Bronze, but it wasn't. So.
Oh, man. The days when arcades had fucking bouncers.
Did it?
Yeah, it had a guy at the door. It had a doorman. Yeah.
Buffy finds Willow standing at a pinball machine. And Willow tells... she's like, there's 3 of them,
I think.
Yeah, Warren tries to tell Buffy not to try anything because he's got backup or some shit, and she's outnumbered.
Yeah.
Camera moves over to another game where the 2 sticks are moving by themselves, and it's obviously Jonathan and Andrew that have fucked off and are playing a game. They whine that, well, we didn't see her come in.
I want to know how they played the video game because, like, if they had quarters on them, the quarters would also be invisible.
Right? Huh.
Would it, like, depending on the kind of coin machine...
Unless they only had bills on them and they put a bill into the quarter machine. But then how would the sensor know that a bill, an invisible bill, was the right bill? Too many plot holes. I can't function anymore. So,
yeah. Anyway, Warren says that he'll make her visible. So it sounds like it's just a plan to be like, no, we're afraid of the invisible Slayer, so we got to make you visible.
Yeah.
But it turns out, because Willow happens to be standing right next to Warren, he's not going to make her visible. He has the gun set to make the molecular whatever worse,
which she knows because she saw the
plans
for 2 seconds,
because she's Willow and she's very smart.
Yeah, so at least that's a premise that I'll accept.
Right. Well, that one makes sense because she did spend a fuck ton of time working with Buffy Bot.
That's true.
And so she understands how Warren builds things.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah, all right. And Jonathan and Andrew are pissed because Warren lied to them.
Yeah.
Buffy assures them that they're all going down regardless, and she hucks the paddle at Warren as he's talking shit, and they fight.
Cue the most boring fight scene on the goddamn planet.
I thought it was hilarious.
It was boring. It was dumb.
No, it was dumb, but that's why it was funny. Because I loved the camera work the whole episode where they're following as if there's somebody there, but there's not. It really helped.
That's well done.
It really helped with the effect of feeling immersed in the idea that somebody's invisible. And they did the same thing with the fight, and
Yes.
it was hilarious.
The plot
I was like,
of
wow,
the-
they're going all in on this fight
Yes.
scene with invisible people thing.
I mean, this whole episode screams, hey, we spent our budget on other shit. So, since we have such a low budget for this one episode, how can we make it the cheapest ever? Well, we don't have to have half our actors here.
They can just phone it in literally later.
They can just do some voiceover. But
I mean, they did have to break a pinball machine.
yeah, and damn, that just...
Sad day.
That hurt.
They probably made a breakaway one. It's okay.
Yes, I know.
Don't worry about
but
it.
It's like... I want a pinball machine, man.
Still mourn its loss.
That's on my list of dreams, to own a pinball machine.
I think that's a very achievable dream, Rex. So yeah, the camera's moving around targeting absolutely nothing while we hear kicking and punching noises. It was fun for a moment, and then I was like, okay,
it was very luckily brief.
I was like, it can be over now. And then it was over now. So Willow, during said fight, crawls under a table and fishes out the invisibility gun. As we hear Buffy and Jonathan arguing, and she's like holding his shirt and throttling him or whatever. So those two are the first that she revisibles.
Yes.
And
sucks away the dangerous radiation.
Yeah, exactly. That's how that works. And she's like, Jonathan? He's like, yeah.
She throws him to the ground, and I like this because when they were invisible and she picked him up.
Yeah.
His response was, "Ow, my chest hair." And after she throws him to the ground, she's like, "You have chest hair?"
Yeah. When she learns that it's Jonathan. Yeah. And
also, I would totally believe that he has chest hair. He looks like the kind of person that if he were to take his shirt off, he's very hairy.
It's possible.
Like you've met those kind of people where it's like, they're hairy, but only on everywhere that is covered by clothing.
Yeah.
Like Robin Williams.
It's actually the first person I thought of when you said that, except he's also very hairy, like his arms even. But anyway, she then revisibles Warren in the ball pit and Andrew on the pinball table, and he's still just sitting there.
I mean, I would too if I just got thrown across the room and I was just a mope.
Okay. Yeah. They do this bit that's actually kind of funny about Andrew, because Buffy's like, who are you? Andrew. Yes. I summoned the flying monkeys that attacked the high school during the school play, you know? And Warren finally butts in. He's like, it's Tucker's brother. It's like, yeah.
And I do love that joke because it's like it wasn't actually a thing that happened in any episode.
Oh, it wasn't?
No.
I was like, wow, I don't remember that.
That's the beauty of it. It actually didn't happen in an episode.
Is it something that got mentioned at some point?
No. Like he mentioned it. Like it was never anything planned. They're like, we want to bring this character back, but we can't get that actor, so we're hiring this other guy to play his younger brother. And then they just like made up something that he did, but no one remembers it.
Oh God, that's funny. Okay. That's extra funny now.
Yeah.
All right. So Buffy's like, what the fuck is all this with you twats? And they're like, we're your arch nemesis, and they do a pathetic smoke bomb exit. And we'll get you next time, Gadget. And you know, it would have worked if the door had been unlocked, but they managed to get it open while the security guard is distracting Buffy and Willow. Willow goes, oh my God, and Buffy thinks she's referring to them getting away, but no, she's noticing Buffy's hair.
Yeah.
And it is,
which
in
is
fact,
super cute.
Pretty fucking cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cut to outside where we do some wrap up. Buffy and Willow sit on the curb and talk about how hard their days were. Sounds like Willow's was overall a little harder than Buffy's.
Well, and she expresses that she did everything the slow, hard way. Yeah, if you're used to doing things the easy, magical way, I can see that would be fucking hard.
Yeah, right. Not counting Spike's cock, of course.
Right.
But Buffy not only realizes the vacation from herself thing didn't really work out, not only because she freaked out Dawn, but also because she had a moment where she realized she was actually scared to die when she heard Xander's message. So that's progress. Gerarg.
Is this from me? I must be ready. I need my strength. Give me more! Nights I shall walk in the earth. Hold on. You've got something here, huh?
How'd you feel about this episode, Josh?
I'm disappointed in myself for not picking out as many of the plot holes as there really were.
Yeah. I was kind of expecting at least one. Maybe they're not plot holes. Maybe they're invisible plots.
There it is. Yeah. I couldn't find the plot hole Emporium this episode because it was invisible, guys. Sorry.
But anyway, what did you think about the episode?
Other than that, because talking with you helps me go, oh, yeah, that was really fucking stupid. But as I kept saying throughout the episode, I still felt like it was on par enough with the theme that it was going for with Willow and Buffy dealing with their shit. And that was pretty redeeming, even though I hate the trio.
Yeah.
Every little fucking geek trope just makes me roll my eyes so hard that they want to pop out of my fucking head.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just riddled with plot problems and inconsistencies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you didn't establish that. What the fuck?
Lazy writing. Lots of lazy writing.
But it was passable.
The best I got is some of the effects they used were clever, and the cinematography was good as far as like making it. They did a great job of making it seem like there was an invisible person there. That's the only thing I can think is actually good about this episode. I didn't find it to be funny. I didn't find it to be all that interesting. This is, I think, one of the just dullest Buffy episodes I've seen yet.
Okay.
Like,
well, fuck you.
I knew that was coming. They obviously have no fucking idea what they're doing with the trio. There's a tiny hint with Warren, like, oh, he might actually be the bad guy.
I think they kind of know what they're doing with the trio. It's just not working.
Right. Okay, yeah. Then maybe that's it. Or like, just...
It's just not having the desired effect. It's not as funny as they thought it was at the time.
Exactly.
It's not holding up. So yeah, the trio, dumb.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking dumb.
I'm looking forward to when Warren basically is like, you know what, guys, fuck you too. I'm just a bad guy now, and actually is a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get a little bit of that eventually, but it's still going to be a bit.
See, and character growth wise, I think everyone had some good character growth this episode,
except Anya.
That's okay. She can stay right where she is. Yeah. We still love you, Anya. Xander really didn't either.
There was some decent teeing up, potential relationship stuff that's got to happen with Dawn and Buffy. They did a decent job of like showing the struggle that Willow is like settling into with freeing herself of magic.
Well, sure. Growth, includes the journey, not just the destination.
Right. Which those aspects are. The entire framing around it, though, was just dull garbage to me.
Okay. All right. Everyone's welcome to their opinion.
And hey, I have a podcast, so my opinion matters.
And I didn't have too many options for... right? Exactly. Mine too. I didn't have too many options for quote of the day. So what was your quote of the day?
I'm going to go with... Buffy's line, oh no, it's not a gay thing, I mean, well, she's gay, but we don't gay. Yeah, that one's mine.
Okay. It's interesting that you were so entertained by that, because that was one part where I'm like, good old-fashioned 90s homophobia. Good job, guys. But I didn't catch that one particular turn of phrase. That is funny.
That's the thing, because that to me says, oh, Buffy's perfectly comfortable with Willow being gay. it's normalized in Buffy's world.
She just knows
But-
that this puritanical
Exactly.
representative of the state,
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
is
like
not gonna be cool with it.
She's panicky over it.
yeah,
And that's when the funny
which
happens.
is still a sign of the times.
Yes.
Like, I don't think anybody would be quite as scared to tell social services that they were
think,
gay.
I think if
these
if
days.
this scenario happened in California today, the response would be like, "Oh yeah, Willow lives here, and Willow is very gay, so this is a very inclusive household."
Right? Yeah. And they'd be like, oh, I see. Good point. You're going places, Mrs.
Yeah.
Summers. All right. So for my quote of the day, I think I'm going to go with, hey, that's cheating.
Yeah.
And also close second, if not totally tied, shortly before that, where Buffy goes, I told you, stop trying to see me.
Yeah.
That was clever.
I thought so.
It was kind of clever. That's all I got.
This has been another episode of Beer with Buffy. You can like us on Facebook, join our Facebook group. We have been bouncing around ideas of a way to continue said group community for the podcast that isn't tied to Facebook.
We'd like to get away from Meta.
Yeah,
because Zuckerberg is kind of a Nazi.
Yeah.
Or at least affiliated with them.
There's Nazi things happening with Meta, just like there was not seeing things happening with this episode.
And I wish... Oh, fuck off.
I know, that was a really bad joke.
Wow. It worked, though.
Yeah.
It worked. I was going to say, back to reality for a moment. I wish I could say that we're exaggerating.
Yes, but we're not.
But 100% literally.
And we're open to suggestions. We're not sure what options are out there. If you have some ideas, give us a message, throw us a text, call our voicemail.
Yeah, suffice to say, fuck Twitter.
Yeah.
And we're probably going to say fuck Facebook and anything meta related at some point. We're keeping Facebook in the meantime.
Well,
and you open to Blue Sky. What's our Blue Sky handle?
Beer with Buffy.
Okay.
If you search Beer with Buffy on Blue Sky, you'll find it. So follow us on there. That's probably going to slowly become our more go-to for social media with the podcast. If you would like to support our show, there's a few ways you can do that. You can go on iTunes and give a review. You want to support us just by giving us your money, you can do that too. Our Patreon is now, because we're recording, back online. You can go on there and buy us a beer, and maybe we'll name your cat.
Yeah, patreon.com/beerwithbuffy.
Yes. If you'd like to get in touch with us, you can do so on Facebook. You can also do so via email, beerwithbuffy@gmail.com, or you can give us a call or text to our voicemail line, 269-743-0783. And as always, you can find our shop and other information at beerwithbuffy.com. Thank you so much. This has been Beer with Buffy. I'm Rex.
I'm Josh.
Have a good night.
Well, fuck you.
Responsibility, and instead of which you enslave yourself to this cult.
You don't like the color?
You have a sacred birthright. You were chosen to destroy vampires, not to wave pom-poms at people.
Why can't you people just leave me alone?
You are the Slayer.
Go ahead.
I'm a watcher. I haven't the skill.
Oh, come on.
By appealing to your common sense. Werewolves, incubi, succubi, everything you've ever dreaded was under your bed but told yourself couldn't be by the light of day.
One gal in all the world.
Common sense.
One gal in all the world.
Common sense.
All the world.
British, wasn't it?
Whee!
Wait, what have we done? Why are we watching this?